sing us in?
Yeah. I've always been shy. I confess it, I'm shy. Can't you guess that this confident air is a mask that I wear 'cause I'm shy?
Tracey Beltrano, all the way from Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Yes.
You're not in New York, right?
Not yet.
You might be not yet, but you are moving to New York.
When things calm down.
If I can cross the border. And
I would
if
like
can get
to
a green
stay
card.
where there's Canadian healthcare.
Yeah. Do you think I'm overdoing the Canadiana here? I have a few, you know.
Could you really overdo it? I mean,
Yeah.
it seems all right. It seems modest.
So what have you been working on? I haven't really talked to you in a while.
Oh, well, I've been working on a character named Marge.
I love it.
Marge gets to say all the things Tracey wants to say, but because Marge is saying it, it's more palatable and less horrible. And you don't really say Tracey's a bitch. You say Marge is a bitch.
Yeah, people never say that, right? That Tracey Beltrano. No, never.
Oh,
cool. So are you isolating still? Are you at home?
Yeah, I'm isolating because I'm. This is funny. I'm immunocompromised. So yeah, I do have to stay home a lot more than most people. I do, but like prior to this, I was already one of those people who was always washing and disinfecting, and so I actually never get sick. Thank God, knock on wood.
So you're already practicing, you're washing your hands, you're not touching your face. Oh, you just touched your face.
No, I didn't. I just went, eat.
Oh, okay.
And I'm in my own home, so it doesn't matter if I touch my face here.
Different rules apply when you're at home.
Yeah, exactly. No one's been touching anything in here but me, so.
Yeah. Now you're the first woman in film that I've had on. I've had a few painters and people like that, and I had someone scheduled. There was another young lady who was very big on female film directors and women in film generally, and that's something I believe in, because there's not a good balance there. And as we've witnessed, there's been a few problems in Hollywood with a couple of oligarchs running things and casting couches and all that sort of stuff. What are the challenges in terms of being a female who's in film and television in Canada? Is it as bad in Canada, do you think?
I feel like it's the challenge is like right now I wrestle with the idea of like, am I getting these opportunities just because I'm a female? Like, I want to legitimately and rightfully earn those opportunities. I don't want somebody to hand it to me to sort of fill a quota or to fulfill, you know what I mean? Like to fulfill their, like, I hired a female, director. Like,
we don't have enough skinny bitches. Can we get a skinny bitch? I need to see more skinny bitches. No, yeah, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Don't do me any favors, man. Like, let me earn it. Like, I don't want to just be handed things because they have to give 10 positions away to women.
Yeah, I hear you.
I want to earn it.
You don't want to be that.
Will I take that? Like, will I take the opportunity because now it's like the in thing to do?
Yeah, you don't want to be you don't want to be 7 of 9 just because you check a box.
Yes, I think that's true for most people.
Yeah. Is there anything? Have you ever refused a job?
Yeah, a couple times, and it's nothing personal. It's just timing usually, or I just don't feel it's something that resonates with me, or it's just not something I feel like my skill set can really lend itself to. So I'm just completely honest with people. If they're asking me to produce things or thinking about directing something or wanting me to be on a project,
you know what, it's not my bag.
I just don't. Yeah, and sometimes it's just fear because I haven't been given those opportunities before. And
I used to say yes to everything. I remember doing and for commercial stuff, or I think it was a print job, and they wanted me to take off my shirt, like, so I was nude from the waist up. And I remember after the fact, I was like, I could have said no. But when you're young and you just want to work, you're just like, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then after, you kind of find out, hey, I could be causing myself damage here if I'm not comfortable with the people directing this, or if they're saying detrimental things. And that actually happens a lot in auditions, like way more than it should happen. And I don't know if it's changing now because you're more in that scene than I am. Have things improved in the last little while?
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
Yeah.
thanks to our unions, they've now set like strict rules in writing, even for non-union performers. So even if it's a non-union performer out, they still can fall under that umbrella that ACTRA and Equity has set, where you need to feel comfortable in the environment you're working in. And if you don't, there are places to report it anonymously, and hopefully the unions.
Yeah, hopefully anonymously, right? Because that was always the thing, is people were afraid there's like 3 casting directors in town. If I piss off one of them, that's like 33% of the jobs that I could potentially be getting. So it was basically fear. And I can remember an environment of kind of like going in and feeling abused, like just like verbally abused and mentally abused.
It's definitely not, for me, my experience is not on the casting end. If you're asked to do something in an audition that feels uncomfortable, it's usually coming from the client, because the casting director doesn't decide what happens in the casting room. It's the client who does. So really,
but they do set the tone though. So if they're asking you to act like a bag of popcorn or something, which sometimes weird stuff, like they're like, pretend you're a bag of popcorn, they can do that in sort of a supportive, creative way, or they can do that in a condescending way. And I found it was often very condescending, like this, the attitude in the room.
well, having been in the room as somebody who's supported auditions, like as a reader, and just as somebody who was directing an audition, it's not to discount your experience in any way, shape, or form, but just to shed some light on the other side. It's an exhaustingly long day filled with tons of the same questions.
I've been on the other side too.
Yes.
Not well, actually, for film and television too, but I hear what you're saying. It's all about timing, and people get bitchy and they maybe haven't eaten for hours.
They haven't. They absolutely have not eaten.
And you're the 8th guy that's in there that, for that half hour, and sometimes I mean, the bitchiness is understandable, but when it crosses a line where you feel like, I don't know, it's a tricky industry, right? And that's why I don't know if it'll ever feel safe. But maybe that's why we're in this industry, because we want to be a bit riskier.
I think in life, and especially as an actor, because actors are constantly being asked to be raw and vulnerable, and then you go into an environment where you may feel like you weren't really approached in a sensitive and gentle way. I think it's important that actors have a little sheen, a protective sheen on them, especially during the audition, because you're not working at that point, you're auditioning. And I think you can still have a little sheen. Of course, when you're on set or you're on stage, you want to fully expose yourself, because that's a true performance. But I think there should be a little protective barrier there, and to not.
I find it interesting that you used the word Sheen there. Are you a Charlie Sheen fan? Is that where you got that? Is that part of his method?
Doesn't he have some problematic history? I don't
Oh, huge. Yeah, huge.
Yeah, I don't think I'm a huge fan of Charlie Sheen. Not going to say he's not talented.
I thought you might be, just because of your choice of words. How do you do that when you go in personally, Tracey Beltrano? What do you do as part of your audition ritual to protect yourself?
I honestly don't feel like I do need to protect myself. I've never had that kind of experience in the audition room, thankfully.
Oh, you're lucky.
I know most of the people personally, so I feel really comforted by them. They really go out of their way to make me feel comfortable in the room. But I do, I say to myself, this could be a good one or a bad one. And there's many factors that contribute to that, including the walk over to the audition. Like, I'm absorbing energy as I come through as I go through the world, right? My day, the people I've encountered on the streetcar, they're all going to affect me. And I'm trying not to put a lot of pressure on myself about things, and just to enjoy and to just to be a human and not to overthink things, just be a living, breathing being in this room saying these lines,
That can be dangerous too, though, what you're doing, because if you're absorbing all that energy, if something like really sort of anything could throw you off, right?
Or you can flip it and say, I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that energy. And I'm an empath, and I absorb everything, whether I like it or not.
Oh,
You know?
okay. Yeah. Yeah. So some people, I know people exactly like you, and they've learned to kind of shut it on and off, so that, on the days that maybe they're struggling a bit, they can't let that much in, otherwise
Yes.
it's just too much.
That's
And then
when I
they
take
won't.
cabs. I
Yeah.
take cabs to those auditions when I'm like, I really need to stay focused, or I really feel like I'm not in a position to be able to accept other energy. I'll take a cab or ride my bike so I can avoid as many people as
That's
possible.
interesting, and I didn't know that you identified that way. That's actually really interesting, and a lot of people in the creative arts have these empathetic or intuitive qualities. So it's really interesting how people with the creative bug also have these sort of tuned in, like everybody has intuition, everybody has the ability to be an empath. It's just whether or not it's turned on or not. And it
Yeah,
sounds like
like
you're switched on. So
wouldn't you say that it's inevitable though, because we are telling the stories, we are embodying human condition, and in order for us to accurately do it justice, it's really like you do take it on yourself. You
oh
implant
yeah.
that onto your own essence, and then you share that with people.
Yeah.
And, right? Like,
Well,
don't you think?
Jim Carrey has been very impacted by exactly that, to the point where he feels like he's maybe even been possessed by the people that have passed on that he's portrayed, and he definitely takes on a role. Now, I
Mhm.
know in some acting schools, like the acting school I attended, they don't even use that term "take on a role" anymore, because they're worried about the impact on the actor. Now, I disagree with that approach, because I think you have to become that character. So I agree with you. I think you have to be empathetic. You have to take on all those qualities and behave as if you were that person, which I guess is sort of method, but everybody has their own way of getting in, right?
And yeah, and I think especially if you're taking on a real human who's existed in time, it
Yeah.
is absolutely your responsibility, and that's what Jim Carrey does a lot of, right?
Yeah. Oh, he
And I
does
have
his
to hand,
research. Yeah.
yeah, and you have to if you're embodying another human. Like, think about Renee Zellweger doing Judy. She
Oh
was
yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
Like, she took on every aspect of Judy she could to
Mm,
do it justice, to
yeah.
pay reverence to her. And I think
Mm.
that was, it's
That's
important.
some people, they really impact their body too. Like, have you seen The Machinist?
Oh, is that Christian Bale or
Yeah,
what?
and he lost a ton of weight. He lost like 100 pounds or something.
Yeah.
He's skinny as a rail in that, and like just an unhealthy amount of weight. So I don't know where I'm at on that spectrum, but a lot of the A-listers, that's what they do, is they'll, if they have to gain 100 pounds, they'll do it.
Yeah.
So, full commitment, right? You have to give them
But
hats off for commitment.
they're doing it with medical professionals. Like, it's not like you and me doing a friggin' theater thing and being like, yeah, I'm gonna just starve myself. No, like,
Yeah.
they're actually getting electrolytes and they're getting injections. They're making sure that their levels are okay
Hmm.
all the time, which is important because you can't just get that skinny and expect to be healthy,
Yeah.
right?
Les Mis, I think extreme dehydration is one of the things that uh, what's his name? He played Jean Valjean. But he went through extreme dehydration so that his cheeks would have like these pockets, as
Oh,
mine do, but mine are just because I'm old.
no, I bet you're dehydrated. Drink more
Maybe
water.
maybe I'm dehydrated all the time. Yeah. Well,
I get those too. I
I
get
have my
those
aloe
too.
vera water, so I'll just.
That's gonna make you poop your pants.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah. It's like a diuretic.
I'll drink more. I'll drink
Oh,
more
great.
if I can get some poop out of it.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Um.
Keep drinking.
So you're in Toronto. What part of Toronto are you in?
Um, Little Italy, I guess you call it.
You're still in
But
Little
not.
Italy. It's so wonderful there. I miss the bakeries that are there, and all the little are still all the little mom and pops businesses still down there.
Well, there's two Little Italies, as you know. There's the one along St. Clair, but I'm on the College Street one, which is turning
Oh yeah.
more Portuguese than
Hmm.
anything.
Yeah. Little
Um, there,
Portugal. Yeah.
there are still the little shops. Some of the old, like a lot of those shops are own, like they own the whole block pretty much. They, like, Italians don't just rent a store. They buy the building the store is in. So
And you're Italian, are you not?
Yes.
Well, you're Canadian, but you identify as Italian.
Yeah, because both my parents immigrated from Italy.
Yeah.
So.
Now, have you been over to the old country to visit relatives or experience the
No,
culture?
and I'm embarrassed to say I haven't.
Yeah.
It's just astounding. I have so many family members there, but like when I was a child, they always wanted to come to Canada, and I can understand that. For them, Canada was like the big deal, and they always just came to visit us. And Italy, to get to Italy back then was exorbitantly expensive because there weren't a lot of competitive prices back then. You know, now flights are competing with each other. You can go there for $500 round trip.
Yeah. Are you a Fellini fan? Because there's some famous directors, film directors. What was Fellini's first name? Do you know?
Not Roberto. I'm looking it up now.
Oh, you're thinking of Bellini. Oh yeah, Roberto Bellini. Actually, your energy kind of. Am I saying it wrong?
Roberto Benigni.
Roberto Benigni. Your energy, Tracey, actually reminds me of Roberto's. Like that sort of frenetic, comedic energy. You have that. Yeah.
I got to tell you, most Italians are like that, but they suppress it because they don't want people to think they're weird. Don't embarrass me.
No, I say be as weird as you want to be. Let your freak flag fly.
It bubbles. Even when I try to act normal, something comes out, and then it reveals me. I have no choice.
You ever have that when you're shooting and the director's like, "Okay, that was good, but could you try it just like a normal person would do it?" Do you ever get that note? I've had that note.
No.
You've never had that?
I get cast just right. No, because I get cast just right. They usually say, go further in that direction. Let's see what happens.
They don't know what to do with it. They're like, okay, this is what we have.
Well, they usually hire me because they want a comedic improviser.
Right.
And I'm not so much an improviser, but I am more so somebody, if you say just go with it, I can just go with it. I'll just do a million things that you weren't asking for. That's how I don't consider myself like you see people who improvise on stage who are incredible. That's not me. I'm a go off the rails, go off script and just see what happens kind of gal.
You're actually, I've worked with you on stage, and you're actually very easy to work with because you bring like 110%, and you charge everybody up, and
so do you.
Well, thank you. That's a nice compliment, and it's always great to work with people like that because sometimes you encounter people that are maybe giving 50% or
I think those people are just shy. I don't think that they feel confident that their voice is like worth, like people I've worked with sometimes, especially in theater, are too polite.
Oh,
and
for
are
sure.
afraid to like bring what they thought of to the table. Yet a director loves that because it makes their job easy. They need to see they want to see you play, they want to see you experiment and play. That's what rehearsal is about.
And I think that's 90% of what directors are doing is giving actors permission to explore and give them permission to, be crazy, right? Or, be sane or whatever it is that they're trying to get going.
Like some of my favorite directors that I've worked with have said, let's just get up on our feet and see what happens. That's usually the first thing they do. Then they start finessing the natural organic things we were doing so that it's natural for us. It moves the way our body moves. It moves the way our instincts move, and I really appreciate those directors because then their blocking feels, like I said, organic. It feels right. It doesn't feel like, what is my motivation to be sitting right now? Why would I sit?
Now, do you ever, when you're exploring a character, do you ever choose an animal? I know some people choose like an animal for the character, and then they try to move like a cat, for example, or like a wolf.
I've done it.
Have you done that? And do you find that useful, or would you find like more of like a vegetable totem maybe more useful? Like you go.
I think it just depends on. Peel the onion.
Like, I wonder if that would be even useful, right? If you go, this guy feels like an eggplant to me. Like,
Yeah. Well, immediately I'm like,
yeah, you see, so it affected you physically. So I wonder if people started using vegetables instead of animals, what that would do to their process. I might have messed you up for life.
No, I think you just gave me like a character idea to be like the
I just blew your
gave
mind.
me a character. You did. You are my
Okay,
guru.
let's do a few. Broccoli.
My guru. A broccoli, it would be like.
There you go. You're gonna get a ton of weird commercials now. Okay. Cherry, Bing cherry. You're a Bing cherry.
A what? What's
a Bing
that?
cherry. A sweet cherry. It's the same as eggplant. Oh, there you go. Bing.
I interpreted it how I imagined it to be because I don't know what it is.
And there's no wrong answer. That's the beauty of it. It's going to affect you however it affects you.
It's just a suggestion that hopefully ignites something in you. This is why I used to love doing mask work. Did you ever love doing mask work?
I loved it. Yeah, I loved mask. Yeah, vocal mask. And then we did Commedia dell'arte. Do you know much about Commedia?
Oh, it's like my favorite.
Really? Oh.
Because it freed this and it freed Tracey and embarrassment and whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like now I'm free to be Arlecchino and play. And
you're a natural Arlecchino, I think. Yeah. Is that your character or you?
I love Arlecchino. Yeah, I definitely feel Arlecchino.
I'm an Arlecchino as well. I mean, I can play Pantalone, but I could play the girls for that matter. I could be Francesca, right?
Of course.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it is you can switch around, but everybody has their own natural, and we're both, I think, Arlecchino, right?
Oh yeah.
We're the wingnuts. Yeah, you're with the nuts today.
We're the ones who go to the center of the room at a party thinking we're the life of the party, and then slowly, like oil to water, people start like going.
You finally arrive. You're like, I'm here, and it's like party's over. No.
Yeah.
Do you know what a Foley coconuts are?
Oh.
Yeah. So the other day, I just for fun, like I was walking to work, and I because I am now going outside. I'm in a remote area, so it's distancing is easy. So most people are going outside. They're just staying far away from other people. So just for fun, I thought I would be like a Monty Python character. And you can see I have a clip actually on the channel of me doing this, and the reactions of people, they just look at me like and they're looking around for a horse because it actually, I don't know how it sounds here, but it does sound like a horse. So they're like, where's his horse? Where is it? It's hilarious. So
oh my God, that's awesome.
If you want to be weird and you don't care. Yeah.
Here, make the sound. Make the sound.
Yeah, make the sound. Yeah. So much fun. And a coconut is only like $2.50 if you go to Freshco or Sobeys. Yeah. Or if you're in America, I don't know what they have down there, but.
How did you crack it open?
I sawed it. I used a hacksaw, and then a giant knife. So I had to it's not easy, but the coconut is actually really good for you, I've found. Makes
you poo. It sounds like you're eating a lot of things that gonna make you like just clean right out.
I need to poop, apparently. No, I don't need to poop, but
everybody needs to poop.
I'm gonna poo after this show, Beltrano. It's a huge one.
I think you should do like a live video on the scene. Smell-o-vision.
With aromatherapy. Yeah. I wonder if we'll have that on our computers in 10 years.
Do you remember? That was like a thing 10 years ago.
Was that a thing?
Yes. Remember when we had CD drives? Not CDs, but like floppy disk drives?
Yep.
They came up with a floppy disk that they could mail to you. You put it in your drive, and because your computer heats up, it would like release essential oils into the air. They came up with something. They did. And then it just like
I've heard of it, but it didn't. Yeah, I mean, I don't think people care about their
That-
sense of smell, right?
I'm mad.
Why are you mad? Oh, because you
wanted to see
you
that
wanted the aromatherapy computer.
Yes.
I want to know where the flying cars are. I was promised flying cars. Where the hell are they, right?
They just like bypassed that and shot people up into space.
I don't want to fucking go to Mars. I just want to fly around the planet. Come on.
I just want to hover over top all of you, looking down on you with disdain. I just want to hover a half an inch higher than everybody.
Yeah.
Minions.
I think you should be cast. Maybe you should be cast as like a wizard or something. Have you ever been cast in a fantasy film, like where you're playing someone kind of magical or whimsical?
I gotta be honest with you, not my favorite genre.
Yeah.
But no, Canada does horror films. They don't do fantasy.
Yeah.
But I have been the Good Witch. I got to play the Good Witch in The Wizard of Oz. So that's kind
That's
of like
cool.
a fairy or a, yeah.
You were Glinda?
I know, I wanted to be the evil witch.
Yeah, I wouldn't have cast you as Glinda.
I also want, okay, but listen, okay, Tim, listen to this. I just had this conversation the other day. I always wanted to be Rizzo. I got cast as Frenchie. I wanted to be the evil witch. I got cast as the good witch. I see myself as these evil characters, but other people see me as the lovable character. Like, it's just like, really?
I would cast you as the evil witch in a second because I know you very well.
You know me.
You would be the bitchy witch so fast if I were directing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the people who are casting don't know the real
They don't know
me.
you. No, you're not. There's the real Tracey Beltrano, everybody. I don't know the Tracey you know, but that's the real Tracey right there. You've seen it.
That was it.
Here on Gong Show Tarot, live to tape. That's Tracey Beltrano. Cast her in a horror film as the murderer. Those are the eyes of a murderer. Three-eyed white, three-sided whites right there.
I did get to play an evil stepmom on a
Cool.
film called Transference on their concept version. And then they ended up they did a feature version of it, which ended up being absolutely incredible. But I couldn't do it, unfortunately, because it was a non-union shoot and I had become union. But the role was so juicy. I really, really loved doing it because I'm always cast as like the goofy, lovable person. And I always wanted to dive.
Are you a Screen Actors Guild member or an ACTRA member or both?
No, but when I move, I'll just piggyback off of ACTRA and join SAG.
That works, does it? Is that an easy process?
I'm not sure. I'm sure it would be though, because if you're union anywhere.
Now, how do you get a green card as a Canadian actor? Is that difficult?
As an actor, it would be difficult. You have to prove that you have exceptional talent. So we're all talented, we all work, but you have to have exceptional credits on your resume that show that if you move to the States, you're a viable entity there. Like you have enough clout to actually continue your momentum there. I didn't go that route. I went through my dad and my stepmother.
They have dual citizenship already?
My dad, no, not dual. He's a permanent resident.
Permanent resident. Okay. So are you moving in with him temporarily, or how is?
No, they live in upstate New York.
Okay.
I'm going to.
Oh, so they're like in Albany. They're like the rich people in Albany, or.
No, they're actually, if you can believe, they're in a small town called Mexico, New York.
Mexico, New York. That exists. I can look that up.
Right next to it is Rome, New York.
Wow.
You drive through their town like in seconds. Like you slow down on the highway, that's their town, and then you pick back speed up, and then you're out of there.
Wow.
It's a tiny, tiny town, but they're near Utica.
Ah, Utica. Yeah, that's often in the films, Utica. I don't know why, but
because it's a desolate, dank place, and it's a good set.
It's a dank place.
It's a good set for like depressing storylines.
Yeah, so I guess moving to New York, I guess your plans have kind of been maybe hitched a little bit by what's going on, or.
Well, I mean, I still have to go for my final interview in Montreal, so nothing has been stalled so far. Like,
so this is for a specific job you're moving, or just
no?
You just want to be in New York?
Yeah, I wanted the option to go back and give it a one
Yeah.
last kick at the can because I used to live there.
Oh, you
And
did? Okay, I didn't know about that.
yeah, I lived there for 10 years.
Hmm.
And then I came back to Toronto because my last visa expired.
Sorry, I'm just doing my stretches. It's early morning here, so
No, do it.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So yeah, I wanted to go give it another kick at the can because when I was there, I was young, right? And I didn't really have that experience and or drive.
But you knew you were an actor at a young age, it sounds like.
Yeah, I was always in some form of performance. What about yourself? When did you start performing?
I was probably about 8 years old, and I would basically mimic Charlie Chaplin. So I had like an umbrella or something, and I would walk along the railroad tracks like a tramp and pretend to be him. And I had a little bowler hat. And my parents just looked at me like, I think something's different about him. He's not like the other kids.
You're like a little eccentric kid.
They never accepted me. They still don't. They still look at me the same way, and they're like, what? You know, you probably get that look. You probably know that look, right?
I'm lucky. I have so many. I got to be honest with you. My parents are really supportive, and considering that if you look at historically, they're immigrants, but they came here when they were young,
Yeah.
and their parents expected them to be doing responsible jobs. Like, they didn't put that pressure on me at all,
Yeah.
like at all.
You're very lucky because most performers, I think, go through, well, we really, like, my parents are supportive, but they always will push you towards that straight and narrow, get in a box.
They worry.
Yeah,
they worry for your livelihood.
Yeah. Which is
That's
fair because,
understandable.
the success rate is very, very low for performers, particularly Canadian performers.
Absolutely.
And I used to think I would always end up in New York much earlier, but when 9/11 happened, that changed everything for a lot of people, because especially people in theater, right? Because the theater industry overnight just kind of tanked, and there wasn't much we could do. I'm going to pull a card for you. So I have a tarot deck.
Do it.
Do you have a question? Do you have a specific question, or you just want to do like a general?
I'm going to let the universe tell me what it needs to.
Oh, okay.
The tarot verse.
Tarot. Oh, wow, that's a good card. Can you see it? Can you see it?
Wisdom and mind.
Close. Oh, it is. Yeah, will, wisdom, and mind.
Oh.
So this is like one of those 3-in-1 things, right? So everything's working together. Do you do chakras?
I meditate.
Okay, so it's kind of like your crown chakra working together with your sacral chakra and everything in between. So you're going to come into your own. It sounds like you're really starting to settle into your own confidence. But I mean, you've always been confident, but everything's going to come together for you. So it's like, if you felt like things were sort of coming together for you a couple of years ago, now they're really going to, mesh, and you're going to feel like things are going to come a little bit easier for you. You're going to be able to channel your energy better. You're going to have more energy. You're going to start to understand yourself in ways that will influence your craft. And I think your career is really going to take off. I mean, I know you've already had a few breaks, but I think this could be the big break, like within the next year and a half.
Thanks, buddy. From your lips to God's ears.
Yeah. How do you like my mug?
Yeah.
I'm in Chasm. I'm in Chasm, British Columbia right now. So
okay.
it's kind of logging, ranching country. So, it's a logical place for a performer to live, in a cattle shed. I'm in a cattle shed right now.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Huh?
Are you, can I ask, are you happy there?
Oh, I'm so happy. I've never been happier in my life.
I believe you. I believe you. This is the acting role of my life.
I couldn't dream of anything better than Zoom application. Please sponsor me.
Where, I mean, like, let's be realistic. We know where we dream like to live, but realistically, where would you like to live?
Probably Los Angeles, or not in Los Angeles though, close enough to have access to the Los Angeles, the industry, right?
Yeah.
Why did you ever consider moving to LA instead of New York, or was it always New York?
Not with this face.
Oh, come on.
No, because I mean, this is so New York.
That's all your own judgment, honey.
I'll go to
That's
New York when they invite. I mean, I'll go to LA when they invite me
okay. Fair enough. All right, I'll see if
for
I can get some.
auditions.
We are writing a film together, or we've written, most of a film together.
I think,
So
yeah.
if you're watching this and you're a producer, give us some money so that we can go to LA and shoot the film. Actually, we'll probably shoot in Uzbekistan. I think that's probably going to be a bit cheaper. But
I'm sure
yeah,
they'll love me there.
we actually co-wrote this thing fairly easily, and we did it remotely, which is, I think, an accomplishment. I've never worked that way before. I never will again. I tell you that much.
I think I just imagine if we had been able to be in the same room, we would
Oh
have.
man,
Oh, it would have been like done. You know?
we'd improvise it, right?
Yeah,
Cut,
it would
print. It'd be
definitely.
like the Ed Wood film. Cut, print. It'd
Yeah,
be out there, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it would have gone smoother. It would have been nice to bounce like
Right. We hit the
for us.
55-minute mark. Thanks for joining us. This has been Gong Show Tarot live to tape with Tracey Beltrano. Check her out on IMDb. Where else can they find you? Do you want to plug your Twitter or Instagram or?
At Tracey Beltrano on Instagram or on Facebook. I have a personal page. Just go look up Tracey Beltrano and you'll see my actor page as well.
Okay. I'm going to trot us out. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
All right. Okay.
Are you going to stop recording?
No, I'm just going to keep recording.